Welcome to the edge of silence, the moment after the chaos, where truth stands unmasked and the lies lie gasping for breath. This right here, is not a speech. This is a funeral for the false image they built. This is a firestorm for the reputation they clung to. If you're here tonight, it's because you didn't just survive betrayal. You shattered the illusion. You cracked the polished surface they hid behind, and you did it with such precision that the echo of your truth still rings in rooms they haven't even entered yet. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. And you didn't just expose them. You erased their entire reputation. You executed credibility with facts, and the silence that follows now belongs to you. There is a kind of justice that doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't show up in gold or lights or front page headlines. It moves like a shadow, steady and sharp, cutting through the noise until only truth remains. That's the justice you brought down. You didn't scream. You didn't beg for anyone to believe you. You simply unveiled the facts. And they collapsed. Their character, their charm, their crafted persona, all melted under the weight of what they thought no one would ever find. And now the room gets quieter when their name is spoken. Now the air feels different when they enter, because people remember. They remember what you exposed. You just ended their credibility forever. They underestimated you. That's where this all started. They looked at your silence and mistook it for weakness. They confused your patience for permission. But you weren't staying quiet because you were scared. You were staying quiet because you were watching. You were learning. You were calculating every contradiction, every slip, every dishonest word they thought they buried under smiles. And when the moment was right, you didn't just speak, you struck. You dismantled every lie, thread by thread, until the only thing left standing was the truth they ran from. You didn't just win, you rewrote the narrative. You made sure that no matter what mask they put on next, everyone will remember what's underneath. The beautiful thing about the truth is that it doesn't need to yell. It doesn't need a stage or a crowd or applause. It doesn't beg to be heard. It just waits. And when it finally walks in, everything false starts to rot. That's what you brought with you, the kind of truth that turns fake reputations into ruins. They spent years building an image. You took moments to destroy it. Not because you wanted to play God, not because you wanted the spotlight, but because they tried to erase your voice, your reality, your worth. And in doing so, they handed you the hammer that would eventually destroy everything they pretended to be. Do you understand the level of power it takes to dismantle someone without even raising your voice? To hold your pain like a blade, sharp and steady, and walk into their kingdom of lies and burn it to the ground with nothing but the facts. That's not vengeance. That's clarity. That's strength most people can't even comprehend. They built castles on deception. You became the earthquake. And now, there's nothing left for them to stand on. People always think exposure is dramatic, that it comes with screaming, with chaos, with a battle. But what you did was surgical, precise, ruthless in its honesty. You didn't go after them with rage. You went after them with receipts. And when you laid those facts down, they didn't just fall, they unraveled. There's a difference. Falling means they can get back up. Unraveling means they were never real to begin with. You showed the world that their reputation wasn't earned. It was fabricated. And the beauty in what you did is that you never needed to lie once. All you had to do was stop protecting them, let that sink in. The only thing keeping them together was your silence. And when you removed your protection, their entire empire fell. That's the level of illusion they were living in. They relied on your loyalty, even as they betrayed you. They leaned on your grace, even while they disrespected it. They walked through life believing they were untouchable, never realizing that the one person who could end them was you. And when you finally decided enough was enough, you didn't just expose the skeletons in their closet. You buried them with their own words. This isn't about bitterness. This isn't about being cruel. This is about the power of not forgetting, of remembering every moment they tried to manipulate you, every instance where they played victim to avoid accountability, every lie they told so easily, thinking you'd never be strong enough to speak. But you did. And it wasn't messy. It wasn't angry. It was beautiful, cold, clean. Truth doesn't need to scream when it's that powerful. You made truth a weapon, and you aimed it perfectly. What people forget is that a reputation is borrowed. It's rented from the people who believe in you. But credibility is earned, and they never earned it. They just faked it well, until you walked in and made sure the lease was up. You repossessed the illusion. You showed the audience that the person behind the curtain wasn't a wizard, it was a fraud. And now the applause is gone, the lights are off, and the show is over. Because of you. You didn't need a crowd to back you. You didn't beg anyone to pick sides. You simply placed the truth in front of the world and walked away. That's what haunts them most. You didn't stay behind to watch them crumble. You had the strength to let it go once justice was done. That kind of detachment, that kind of control. It's terrifying to people who depend on manipulation to survive, because it means you're no longer playing their game. You're not dancing to their tune. You are the silence after the storm, the calm after the collapse. You are the truth they can't outrun. And now, they're left with nothing. No more carefully curated image. No more safety net of lies. No more social armor. Just the cold, brutal weight of exposure. And every time they try to rebuild, people will remember what you revealed. Every new connection they form will hesitate. Every opportunity they chase will come with questions. And it won't be because you keep talking. It'll be because the facts speak louder than anything they'll ever say again. That's the cost of playing with real ones. The cost of thinking they could hurt you and walk away untouched. They didn't just lose your trust. They lost the version of themselves that the world used to respect. And here's the real victory. You never stooped to their level. You never twisted the story. You just told it. That's what separates you from them. They used lies to get ahead. You used truth to bring them down. And that truth, it echoes. It spreads. It becomes legend. Not because you wanted to be a hero, but because they made the mistake of thinking you'd stay quiet forever. They built a story around your silence. You wrote the ending with your voice. And that ending, it buried everything they ever tried to be. People like them count on fear. They feed off silence. They depend on you not knowing your own strength. But what they didn't see coming was your evolution. They didn't anticipate the moment you stopped asking why they did what they did and started deciding what you were going to do about it. That's where everything shifted. That's when the tables turned. And when you finally moved, you didn't just tell your truth. You erased their ability to lie again. You killed the version of them that could hide, and you did it with precision. Now, let me tell you something that matters more than anything. This was never about destruction. This was about liberation. You didn't just burn their image. You freed yourself from the weight of pretending. You freed others who were still trapped in their web. You became a light in the dark hole of manipulation and said, enough. And that kind of defiance, that kind of clarity, it scares people like them to the core, because it means you're awake now. You see everything. and you'll never go blind again. You didn't just win, you transformed. You didn't just expose, they'll never recover. You didn't just speak, you echoed. And every time someone brings up their name, the air will shift. Because you made sure that behind every smile they fake, people will wonder. People will remember, people will ask questions. And no amount of charm will cover the truth you released. They aren't just discredited, they are erased. You didn't have to destroy them. They did that themselves. All you did was remove the curtain, and what stood behind it couldn't stand on its own. You didn't fight dirty. You didn't need tricks. You had the one thing they feared most, clarity. And now the world sees them exactly as they are. No mask, no filter, just raw, exposed truth. That's what power really looks like. So don't ever doubt what you did. Don't ever second guess the silence that followed. That silence, it's not empty. It's full of echoes, of conversations behind closed doors, of eyes opening, of trust dying where it never should have existed in the first place. You didn't just end their story, you rewrote your own. And from this point forward, you walk different. Because once you've seen the truth, you can't ever go back to pretending. They'll try to recover. Let them. They'll try to rebrand. Let them. But the shadow of the truth will follow them into every room they enter. And no matter how much they smile or shift or spin, they'll always be walking under the weight of what you revealed. And the best part, you're already free. You're already miles ahead. Because while they scramble to repair the mask, you're building something real, something honest, something untouchable. You didn't just expose them, you erased their entire reputation. And the world took notice. You didn't just whisper the truth, you dropped it like thunder. You shattered the illusion so completely that even the ones who once defended them now flinch at the mention of their name. You made them radioactive, untouchable. Their credibility doesn't just have a crack, it has a crater, and everyone can see it. There's no hiding it now, no repairing what they broke themselves. They wore the costume for too long, but you ripped it off in seconds. You reminded the world that truth doesn't need a second chance. It just needs a single, undeniable moment. And you gave it that. Understand what you've done. You didn't just survive. You didn't just walk away from the damage. You left the blueprint of their downfall written in ink for all to read. And now, every step they take forward will feel like walking across broken glass. You didn't just end their lie. You made sure it can never be rebuilt again. You've carved something into the collective memory that they can never scrub clean. Their past, their words, their actions. They're no longer buried. They're immortalized. And you hold the pen that wrote that history. Let them try to spin the story. Let them try to paint themselves as the victim now. That's all they have left. Performance. But the stage is burned. The curtain is torn and the spotlight has moved. The audience is different now. Wiser. More skeptical. Because you changed the lens through which they are viewed. You altered perception permanently. And that's the most powerful thing a person can do. Reshape reality by simply telling the truth. You didn't create chaos. You didn't fabricate drama. You didn't twist facts. You just revealed what was already there. And that's what makes it so unshakable. That's what makes it echo so loud. Because people know, deep down, they always knew. You just gave them the courage to admit it. And now, that truth won't stop spreading. It has no brakes. It has no master. It's alive, it's breathing, and it's too loud to ignore. That's the storm you summoned. And it doesn't stop until everything fake is torn away. They'll try to laugh it off. They'll try to pretend they're fine. but you know better. You can see it. Behind every forced smile, there's fear. Behind every shallow post, there's desperation. Because they know what you did, they know what you're capable of, and most importantly, they know they'll never be able to undo it. You didn't break their mask, you obliterated it. You reduced their entire reputation to dust. And no matter how many times they try to glue the pieces back together, the cracks scream louder than ever. You didn't humiliate them with hate, you ended them with honesty. And honesty always wins. Not instantly, not always in front of the crowd, but inevitably, unstoppably, relentlessly. That's why you sleep peacefully now. That's why they don't. Because you carry no guilt, no secrets, no fear. While they're haunted by everything they thought they got away with, they can't escape it. They can't outpace it. Because it's not chasing them anymore. It's inside them. You turn the mirror around, and now they can't look away. And let's be clear, you didn't do this for applause. You didn't do it for vengeance. You did it because you refused to let the lie live longer than it already had. Because silence would have made you complicit. Because looking away would have made you like them. And you are nothing like them. You walk with different weight now. You breathe in truth like oxygen. You wear clarity like armor. And when people look into your eyes now, they don't see someone who survived. They see someone who rose, someone who burned down the myth and walked through the ashes untouched. Do you know what kind of power that is? That's legacy power. That's permanent. That's the kind of power that can't be bought, copied, or faked. It's born through pain. It's earned through fire. And you earned it. You didn't just tell the truth. You became the truth. You're a living reminder that no lie, no matter how beautiful, can survive in the presence of someone brave enough to speak. And now, wherever they go, whatever they do, they carry the shadow of your words behind them. A shadow long and dark and unforgettable. They're not respected anymore. They're watched. They're not trusted anymore. They're tolerated. People are waiting for them to slip, to show their true face again. Because now the world knows to look. You made sure of that. And the best part? You never had to destroy them. All you had to do was stop protecting them. That's what people don't realize. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight. It's to withdraw your protection, your silence, your grace. And when you did that, the mask shattered. You didn't just expose a person, you revealed a pattern. You showed the world that the version of them they were worshipping was never real. And once people see, they never unsee. You flipped the entire script. You weren't the victim in the story. You were the reckoning. You were the turning point, the catalyst, the one who walked in with receipts, with facts, with an unshakable calm, and told the world, look for yourself. And they did. And once they did, the illusion died screaming. Now, every step you take is power. Every word you speak is weight. Because people know, they've seen what you're capable of. You're not someone who fights dirty. You're someone who fights real. And real always wins in the end. No matter how long it takes, no matter how loud the lies get, the truth always survives, and it always wins, and you are living proof. So don't look back, don't second guess yourself, don't doubt what you did. You didn't just tell your story, you ended a lie. You didn't just break silence, you broke the cycle. You didn't just walk away, you left a scar on deception so deep it'll never heal. You didn't just expose them, you erased their entire reputation, and they will never recover. Not because of drama, Not because of hate, but because of one simple, unstoppable, inescapable force. You told the truth, and the truth always leaves a mark. They'll wake up every day wondering who still remembers. And the answer is simple: everyone who matters. Because what you revealed wasn't petty, it wasn't gossip, it was the core of who they are, exposed under unforgiving light. You didn't highlight a mistake, you peeled back a facade. And now, even their apologies come wrapped in fear. Every word they say is weighed. Every claim they make is cross-checked. Every room they enter comes with silence they didn't expect. You gave the world X-ray vision, and now no one sees them the same. This is what they never calculated. They thought truth was fragile. They thought it could be outshouted, buried, ignored. But you taught them the one lesson every manipulator eventually learns. Truth has patience. It waits, it watches, it sharpens itself in the shadows. And when it strikes, it doesn't just correct the story, it rewrites the legend. And that's exactly what you did. You rewrote the version of them that people accepted for years. You rewrote it with scars, evidence, and cold, unstoppable clarity. And no matter how many lies they try to wrap around themselves now, they can't hide. Because you didn't just take aim at their words, you annihilated their credibility. That's not something you can buy back. That's not something you can fake your way through. Once it's gone, it's gone. And in its place, a question mark, a warning, a whisper that follows them into every room. Is this who we really thought they were? You taught everyone something they'll never forget, that silence can be deadly, that the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one screaming, it's the one who watched, remembered, and waited. And when you finally moved, it wasn't explosive, it was surgical. It was a dismantling so precise that they still haven't found the pieces of their old self. You didn't leave them broken. You left them revealed. That's the power you carry now, the kind that doesn't need noise, the kind that walks into a room and shifts the air. Because when you've exposed a lie that big, when you've ended a reputation that deep, you become unforgettable. Not because of the damage you caused, but because of the truth you forced everyone else to see. And no one forgets the person who showed them what was really behind the mask. They might try to spin the narrative. They might play the victim. They might even find people naive enough to believe the watered-down version of the story. But none of it will matter. Because you didn't just end their story. You gave people a filter they'll never remove. From now on, when their name is mentioned, it will always come with a pause, a doubt, a stain, a silence that screams louder than any defense ever could. That's the reputation you erased and the legacy you redefined. What you did took more than courage. It took emotional discipline, because this wasn't about vengeance. It wasn't about looking strong. It was about refusing to let them keep walking with borrowed power. It was about ending the illusion that they were ever untouchable. And it worked. You hit them where it hurts the most. In the one place they never imagined losing: public perception. Because here's the secret they never wanted anyone to know. Without their reputation, they're nothing. It was never about integrity. It was about control. And when you strip that from them, they crumbled. Slowly and suddenly. And now, they aren't rebuilding, they're pretending. There's a difference. You can see it in their eyes, in their posture, in the way they scan every room for people who used to trust them. The mask is still there, but it's cracked. And it will never shine the same again. That's what you've done. That's the mark you left. You didn't just expose one lie, you shattered their entire identity. You didn't just hold them accountable, you forced them to meet themselves. And that's a meeting they were never prepared for.